Well, they call themselves just a group of guys from Alabama who love music and love God, but the recording industry is calling them an overnight sensation. Stay with us today on Deeper Living. Our special guest, our Rush of Fools.
From coast to coast across North America, this is Deeper Living, bringing the inspirational marketplace to your front door. We exist to bring you the latest and greatest from authors, artists, and artisans around the world. You're going to love this.
Well, welcome to Deeper Living. I'm Ginger Garrett, your host, and I am joined today in the studio by a very special musical group, Rush of Fools. So welcome.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Now, first of all, I'd like for our viewers out there, each of you introduce yourselves and tell me what you do in the band.
I'm JD and I play guitar.
JD, okay.
I'm Jacob and I play the bass.
Jacob.
My name's Kevin and I play guitar and sing as well.
Great. And we're missing a couple, aren't we?
Yes, a couple of guys aren't able to be with us. We'll pretend they're sitting there. It's Wes, he's our lead singer and he plays guitar, and Jamie, he's our drummer.
Okay, great. So how did you guys all come together? You're all from Alabama, you all love music, but how did you become Rush of Fools?
Well, it's kind of a weird story. It's obviously random in the terms of human, but it's definitely, you just see the providence of God working in our lives. None of us are from the same hometown or from the same church or from the same family. None of us are the same age. But it's kind of neat. It started a couple of years ago. I was finishing college and Wes was finishing high school. We didn't know each other, but I had gotten married, and I was a part of a band that was breaking up because we were going to go be in the real world. So, and then Wes was finishing high school and his band was breaking up because they were going to go to college. And we met through my wife's little sister. She introduced, she went to school with Wes, and Wes and I met a summer of '05, and so just after I got married, and we started writing some songs together, got a call from a friend of a friend who knew this 15-year-old drummer at the time, and that's Jamie, who's with us today. And from then on, we played with a couple of other guys, and then about 10 months ago, Wes was just visiting a church, leading, and Jacob was leading worship there, and Jacob pulled it. We asked Jacob to fill in some dates, and he just kept going with us. And JD and I actually went to college together, and we went to the same church, but we were playing in separate bands at the time, and then JD's band kind of dissolved out, and so we just picked him up just about
On the way here.
Yeah, on the way on the way to the studio today. No, about 4 or 5 months ago. So
okay, so each of you kind of happenstance comes together. Is this what you each thought you would be doing at this point in your lives?
I hope so. I'm a music nerd. And I would lay in bed and like worry that I was not going to play music. And so lo and behold, here I am playing music. So yeah.
I dreamed of it as a little kid because I always, I went around with my mom singing, thinking I was touring around, but yeah, I always dreamed of doing this, and so, God gave me a dream come true, so.
Yeah, absolutely. And what about you?
It's just not my dream come true.
Oh, yeah.
I've ruined it. I ruined we had a great lineup going. I mean, I have a passion for the church, and God called me to ministry about 8 years ago, and I felt like when I finished my undergraduate degree and got married, I moved to a new town, moved back to my hometown, to Birmingham, Alabama, to go to school, to go to seminary, and I thought, like, that's what church planting is my thing, and everyone who knew Kevin knew that's what Kevin was going to do, and God closed the door and kind of opened this one, and we always joke and feel like God's kind of shoved me through. But it's a cool thing. It's definitely a blessing, and I wouldn't trade it for the world now. But this is not what I ever. If you told me a year and a half ago, hey, Kevin, you're gonna be playing, I'm like, Ginger, you're silly. That's not gonna happen.
So I mean, what is that like? What was the process? You're all musical guys. Well, some of you have the dream of doing this professionally. When you start to come together to form the band, how did you actually come to make this CD? What was that process? Well,
it was incredible. We had a heart. Wes and I were able to write on all the songs, and these guys, some of it, JD wasn't even in the band when we started the recording process. But just in the songwriting, Wes and I just had a heart to just write songs that were real focused on the truth. And by the end of the record, we started realizing in these songs that we're writing, we're like, okay, so we're a worship band. That's what we do. All of the songs that ended up on the record are a worship song. And when we go and play places, we put, our screen, or like the words are up on the PowerPoint or on the screen, and that's kind of what God's wired us for. And so we're excited to see that we had a worship album that kind of just opened, it just kind of fell in our laps.
Right, but when you say worship, you know, when I listened to the CD, I was just knocked out, because this is something that, it's crossover music. It's something that if I were to walk into the church I grew up in, I probably wouldn't hear this. It's so fresh and it's so new, and it's something I would hear if I was at a great coffee shop.
Well, yeah, thank you.
So how do you define worship music?
Well, we've kind of been tagged progressive worship by some, and it's just, I mean, we had the idea, you know, we didn't have like a particular sound we were going for. We didn't have, you know, a certain band that we were trying to be just like. We were really focused and intentional about our lyrics, and just wanted to talk about the truth, and just to get the truth out there, and try to be artistic and creative. And we had some really great, incredible producers that worked with us on the record, and we just kind of got, everything was flowing, and in the studio it was just amazing. Like, we'd be at the end of the day and we were like, man, this is incredible. Like, we would have never believed, like, some of the songs from where they started to where they ended up. It's just, it's really cool.
What an amazing process. Now, for someone like me, who I have never set foot in a recording studio, who writes the songs? How does it happen? How do you go from an idea in your head? Does someone think of the music and someone thinks of the lyrics? How do you get from just a general concept to a finished CD?
Oh, I think it kind of changes with individual people. But I mean, like with the guys that we've been around, sometimes you're just sitting with an acoustic guitar and a couple of guys in a circle and just kind of thinking things out. A lot of times one of us will take, hey, I've wrote this down in my journal, or you know, I had this idea in my head, and sometimes it's a musical idea. Some of the producers we work with is like, I've got this little guitar riff, and it's just really neat just to kind of see just the way the process happens. And it does. It starts off with something so simple and small, and then it ends up, you know, you got a 3.5, 4-minute song in just a few hours. It's really cool.
Oh, how amazing. Now, okay, Jacob and JD, you guys are the quiet ones, so I'm going to pick on you here. What is that like for you to step into a studio? This has been your dream. What is that like, that moment when you step in there and you realize this is about to happen?
I don't know. I think, to me, like, recording is great.
Yeah.
And it's cool. You have something you can say, hey, this is me playing. But my favorite thing is playing live.
Really?
There are things that happen when you're playing live that you just can't recreate, and you can't.
Like what? You have to give us some examples. Because we've never been on that side of the stage. We're the ones that are always in the audience.
Well, for me, a musician, I can think of like times where we're in a musical moment that we've played over and over again, and it can be so new and so fresh, and like you can have a conversation with, like, you know, the bass and I, we're just kind of hanging out, and the parts are kind of moving together, and it's weird. It's hard to explain. Yeah. But it's crazy.
Yeah.
What can happen.
That was really kind of a goal, even with this record. We were like, we want to try our best to get that feel. Like, we want, you know, someone that would put our CD in their record player, you know, in their CD player or on their iPod, to be like, man, this is like a live setting, like that. Which, you know, hopefully we somewhat created that, but it's true. It's just hard to recreate that live thing, and it's a really neat experience to be a part of.
So the music's fresh for you then every time you play live?
Yeah, because it's never the same.
It's always different. For me especially, I'm probably not the same way. When you know, recording, it's fun, and it's a completely different feel though, and a completely different thing. And you know, when you record, that's what you try to do, is capture everything that you do live and put it into there. And so, you know, that was our hearts, and I think we did the best we could. Oh,
it's an amazing CD. I can see why people are just going nuts over it. Are you surprised by the reaction?
Yes.
Very much so. It's humbling, really. I mean, right? It's really neat just to see. We're like, man, it's just to see the response of people. We get messages and messages, and we are really backed up right now, like on our MySpace site with our message book, because we want to answer them personally, and that's one of our, you know, that's kind of our heart, is to try to stay connected with our friends, our fans, our audience. But it's just been overwhelming. Just the, you know, the success that's happened. We want to be the first to say we give God the glory for it. It's it's a really neat, really just shocking kind of thing, and it's humbling, because we were like, man, this is bigger than 5 little guys from Alabama. Like, it's bigger than that. So it's really cool.
Oh, fabulous. Well, we are going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to talk more with Rush of Fools, so stay with us. Welcome back to Deeper Living. We are here in the studios with Rush of Fools. Okay, now guys, there are a few things I haven't covered yet, and I know I need to. First of all, where did you get your name, Rush of Fools?
That's the first time someone's ever asked us that. No, not really. It comes from kind of a story. This guy named Paul, he lived about 2,000 years ago. He was a church planter, and he planted this church in Corinth. It's a town.
I might have heard of this guy.
Yeah. People know as 1 Corinthians in the scriptures if you're familiar with the Bible. But he wrote this letter to these people that he had pastored them for about 18 months, and so he knew these guys well. He loved them, cared for them. They didn't pay him anything, so he had to like them. So he just kind of shared his heart with them and addressed some things that he had noticed just about their lives and their lifestyles. And in the very beginning of that letter, he just talks to them about where God's brought them and where they've come from as a people. He just kind of reminds them there was nothing really special about them. They were really normal, average, everyday folk. They weren't from rich families. They weren't from wealthy families or political leaders, nothing like that. None of their moms and dads were booksellers or anything. They were just normal people. And but then he says, but God chose what is foolish in the world to shame the wise, and God chose what is weak in the world to shame the strong. And that just resonates with us. We just feel like that we're just normal, everyday guys just doing our thing, and we want to be seen as a rush of fools for God.
Wow. Well, that's a fabulous story. Okay, so I have to ask, you also produced a music video to come out with this CD.
We did.
And it's an amazing video. It's winning awards. Well, first of all, tell me about the award you won for that, the Telly Award.
Well, I mean, it was what we know is that it was a huge ordeal, and we were we didn't really understand it all just because we're new to the business, and we haven't learned all the ropes. But it was a ton of entries of all these different videos, and mainstream Christian. It doesn't really, it's all into one thing. And I think there were like thousands of videos that were entered, and somehow and we had a great producer, Billy Brown, the guy who produced the video. He's this awesome dude, and he's got a lot of energy. He is, man. He's just a ball of joy wherever he goes. And so he was fun to work with, and it was really cool just to learn that we had won kind of like their overall main award. Yeah.
Was that the moment this all really became real to you when you were recording a music video?
I'll say the moment it became real was when the first time I heard somebody singing "Undo Love," that's the moment it became real to me.
That's kind of an experience.
It was just kind of hit me. I was like,
the video was neat. It was a different thing, because
you're
mouthing the words.
Doing that?
What's that?
Were you comfortable doing that? Were you comfortable shooting a video?
We've played the song about 47,000 times. So, I mean, that got kind of old, but it was really cool. He had a lot of great ideas. He knew what he wanted to do when he came in.
Yeah, the fact that he was energetic made it easier.
And he actually got us to sing like we were singing the parts, and obviously that's from the what you see in the videos, not us literally singing, but like we did sing the parts. So you want to capture all that in a video, and we hope to, in that we just had that one location and that one setting, but we were hoping to really kind of capture something neat.
Yeah. Okay, so you've made the CD, you've got the award-winning video, and where are you going to go from here?
We don't know. Disney World.
What's life like for you
right now?
Probably
go get some coffee after this.
A lot of media, a lot of traveling, a lot of touring.
A lot of traveling.
Got a tour in the fall with Todd Agnew.
We're doing a bunch of camps this summer. And retreats.
So we were able to do some. We've been able to go to like different churches, kind of all over the place. We've had from the West Coast to up north and Midwest. It's been really neat, and one of the things that it's just neat to go around and meet different people. And even though we're one country, there are different cultures all in the United States. It's really neat just to get to kind of go and be a part of that.
How is your relationship with your fans different than, say, another group that doesn't have an inspirational message? What are they looking for when they come to your concert that they may not get from another group?
Well, I mean, I would hope that, one of the things that we try to portray a lot is just that we try to really kind of demote the idea of like the rock star thing. We don't really see ourselves as the guys who deserve to be on a stage or anything like that. And so we try to focus on the fact that, we're about a message of hope and a message of inspiration, that we hope people will hear the gospel in our songs. And we want just to tell the truth. We don't want to be seen as some super spiritual, super godly guys just because we're holding guitars, because we're not. We're normal guys. We have struggles. We say things we shouldn't. We have bad days, and we try to portray that just in our lives, and that goes on stage and off stage. And I think that with our fans, we're able to connect because we try to kind of kill that barrier. We know that there's a stage, there's an audience, and we're the ones on the stage, but we really just try to, in our times of worship when we're playing and celebrating music together, we just try to make us kind of an all of the, in the same audience.
Yeah. Well, they always say success changes people, and you guys have had such fast success and so early in your careers. Each of you just tell me, how do you think this has changed you, or what do you want from this as you go forward?
Me personally?
Yeah.
Biggest thing I learned from this is don't put a limit on what God can do for you in your life. Because a year ago I was working a full-time job, never thinking any of this would happen. And God, I was about to go to college. He turned my world upside down. So I don't think any of us have changed for the worse. I think we're all even more humbled by it.
Really?
And the fact that, how could God take, this 5 guys from Alabama, who just love to worship Him and play worship music and use us for this great of a thing. So.
Wow, what a great answer. That's going to inspire so many of our viewers. All right, what about you? I mean, how is success? What have you seen change in your life as you started to become more successful?
I think people look at us as something special. And I'm from a small town, and they don't have much going on. And sorry, they do. And so they'll call me, or it'll be in the paper. JD played in Atlanta or something. And they're like, wow. And but I think the one thing that I would like to take advantage of that, because people are looking at me now. Yeah. Like I'm somebody, which we're not. No. But they see us that way, and I realize that. And I just really would like to encourage people. I mean, like you said, there's no limit of what you can do. I mean, if you're really into music, go for it. If you're really into art, go for it. I mean, there's no limit. Don't limit yourself. He said it. It's the same thing, I think, really.
Wow, that's a great message. And what about you?
I think that it goes back to that we've been really humbled by it. I think that the term overnight success and the fact that that's happened, we have to recognize that. But we're quick to recognize is like we could not have formulated this. Like we could not have made this happen. And so we have to say this is a God thing. And so we're just really excited just to kind of be on this really incredible journey that He's put us on.
And you guys are working on the next CD. You've got some ideas going on in your mind right now.
That's weird. We were talking about that
absolutely
half an hour ago.
Yeah.
I mean, because we were thinking of what's going to be the direction for the next record. And we've got some writing days scheduled. We've got a really busy schedule ahead of us, as you know. But we've got some days in the next couple of weeks we're going to be writing and going up and hanging out with some friends that we wrote with on this last record, and it'll be a lot of fun. We're really excited about it, and it's still in the early stages, and we don't even know when we're going to make it to the studio. But there's somewhat of an itch, I think, starting to grow back. Like we got to get some more songs going.
Yeah, well, you're creative type, so I'm sure you've got ideas all the time.
Yeah, I hope so. Yeah, we'll wait and see. I guess.
We'll see.
Well, we are going to take another quick break, and when we come back, we'll have our final segment with Rush of Fools. And before we leave, we'll also play their video for you. So sit tight, and we'll be right back.
Award-winning designer Deborah Bordeaux brings you her For You Designs collection, made in sterling silver with crystal and semi-precious gems. Each item comes uniquely gift-packed with an exclusive poem inspired by the Word of God. This collection is themed by life events: friendship, love, praise, remembrance, and even salvation. The perfect reminder of God's promises for yourself or for a cherished friend or family member. With the For You Designs collection, you will never be at a loss for words.
And welcome back to our final segment with Rush of Fools here on Deeper Living. And so one of the questions I have for you guys is, on this CD, which has done so well, is there a particular track that really speaks to you, or that you had a particularly heavy hand in creating?
Yeah, I'll go first.
Okay.
So they don't steal my answers. No, we can. I really love the last song on the record, and if you listen to a lot of music, you know that the last song is usually maybe something different or something more acoustic. But the song, it kind of really sums up and wraps up everything we've been trying to say for the entire album. And we wrote it late one night with a friend of ours, Jason Ingram, and he is a singer-songwriter as well, and we were over there. We were actually, it was like 11:30 at night. We got to his house, and we went over there. He's like, "Hey, you guys want to write?" And we're like, "Sure." We weren't even scheduled to write or anything like that. We're like, "What do you want to write about?" And I had just shared kind of my heart, and what we have shared a lot as a band is like we've been raised as kind of in a culture, in the church culture of that's really focused on so much on religion and not so much on the relationship, and how that's hard, and there's a temptation in us to want to look really good in front of people. There's a temptation, Ginger, that we want to impress you, or that we want to impress an audience, and that's not really what the Christian life's about. And we kind of just share in this song that, you know, we try to work for the love of God. We try to do things so that God will accept us. But the fact of the matter is, it's already been done. And the gospel and the fact that Jesus has gone to the cross and died for our sins, that's already taken place. And there's nothing for us to add to or to take away to the gospel to make it the gospel. It is what it is. And that's just kind of just to wrap up the record. And that's just kind of a close one to my heart.
Okay. And what's the name of that song?
Already.
Already. Okay. And what about you?
My favorite song on the record is probably "Peace Be Still."
Yeah.
And the reason for that's kind of short and sweet, but basically the song is about it's God. It's coming from God's perspective, just talking to His children, saying, "Peace be still, and know that I'm God." And basically, I have to remind myself a lot, you know, that God's bigger than all of our problems. You know, I start to worry, and me and my wife, you know, both do that. And just to me, I guess remind myself that, you know, God's bigger than anything that happens, and that He can take care of any of the problems. So.
Yeah. Well, great. And what about you?
Mine is Already as well.
And why for you?
Well, mine is actually for a different reason.
Yes.
Yeah, thankfully.
Yeah.
That live situation I was talking about earlier.
Yeah.
When we play that song live, it just creates this atmosphere. And I'm sorry, I'm a nerd. That sounds dumb and cliche, but
it really
does. Like, and we never know where the song is going to go live. It's different every single time, you know.
Yeah.
Not just the feeling, but the actual notes and the chord progressions are different every time. And for me, there's a section where, like, I'll play like a guitar solo or whatever, and you know the words are saying, you know, it's already been done, it's already been done, and like when it gets to the instrumental part, it's almost like to me just saying, I can't do it, and it's like just all of me just coming out and just you know, like this this explosion of this is me, and it's already been done, so I can't do anything, but this is what I have, and it's hard to explain.
No, you're
I'm
doing
a musical
a great
guy,
job.
so
Yeah, you're doing a great
words
job.
only go so far with me. But
and you know what's great about this is that your fans and the viewers are getting a chance to sort of understand how you think when you're putting something this together and when we're on stage. And that's a treat for us. It sounds like each of you have such a heart for your fans, not just the passion for the music, but you have a heart for your fans. What do you think? What are the takeaway messages that you want your fans to have from your work? What's your legacy going to be as artists?
Ooh, that's a great question.
I know that, you know, in this industry, bands and artists come and go, and I realize that, and I know that, you know, in a month, in a year, we may not be here. So I really just want to take this opportunity and just make the most of it, and you know, just reach as many people as I can, as God would use me to, you know. Yeah. And I just really don't want to miss any of it, and I just want to take it all in, you know, because it could be gone anytime.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm kind of what we talked on earlier. Yeah. I really want them to be able to come to our concerts and be able to get that worship feel, you know, at least come away touched with something, whether it be, you know, a life-changing experience or just to lift them up that day. You know, maybe they have a bad day, and I mean, as long as I can do that and continue to do that, you know, that's makes me love this job. So.
Wow. And what about you? What's your core message for your readers, you think, your legacy as an artist?
I think we want to be known for telling the truth and telling the truth about ourselves, and that's really, that cuts to the core of everything. We don't really have some cool mission statement or anything like that, because we all kind of we're all wired differently. Like Wes, our lead singer, is really geared towards the youth, and Jamie is a youth, so he's still a part of the youth group thing, and I'm kind of more geared towards the church and an older generation, things like that. So we're all wired differently, but our universal message is just to tell the truth and to tell the honesty of who we are, what we're about, how we fall short of God's glory, how we're not those perfect guys, or how how we're not righteous, or in the fact that we're very undeserving just to be on this platform. And we just want to recognize that, first and foremost to God, but we want to expose that and be as transparent as we can.
Yeah. Oh, fantastic. Thank you guys for being our guests.
Thank you for having us so
we are
much,
going
Ginger.
to go ahead and play your video now, y'all. Be sure and stop by deeperLiving.com where you can buy the new self-titled CD, Rush of Fools. And here's the video. Enjoy, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
I've been here before. Now here I am again. Standing at the door, praying you'll let me back in. To label me a prodigal would be only scratching the surface of who I've been known to be. Turn me around, pick me up, undo what I've become. Bring me back to the place of forgiveness and grace. I need you, I need your help. I can't do this myself. You're the only one who can undo what I've become. I focused on the score, but I can never win. Trying to ignore a life of hiding my sin. To label me a hypocrite would be only scratching the surface of who I